everyone and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. My name is Katarina. So I have recently been kinda bothered with the size of my makeup collection, and my makeup collection is not huge by any means anymore. I used to have drawers full of makeup. Now I only do have most of my makeup products in one makeup bag, but I do have some lip products here and I do have palettes there. And I feel specifically those color cosmetics, those are the categories that I would like to downsize. But before making any declutters, I decided I'm going to do a list of pros and cons of having a larger makeup collection versus having a minimal makeup collection. And I wanted to share my thoughts with you today. Spoiler alert, this is really much in favor of having a minimal makeup collection, so I think it is a sign that it is time for me to do a declutter so that I can get a step closer to my ideal minimalist makeup collection, whatever that will end up looking like in future. And I also want to say that this is just my personal opinion. A lot of people do have completely opposite views about their makeup collection, and that is fine. But let's get into it, and let's start with pros in having a large makeup collection. And let's start with the most obvious one: the variety. The more makeup you have, the more options you have for different looks, for different seasons, different occasions, different moods, different outfits even. And I do think variety is the reason why a lot of people want to have large makeup collection. Although I will say, in my opinion, it is possible to also have a lot of variety in your makeup collection, even if it is not huge, because after a while, the eyeshadow shades in palettes, for example, get repetitive. Or another example is red lipstick. There's so many different variations of a red lipstick, but do you really need to have all of them? I don't think so. Like maybe a couple is good. Okay, then the another pro is that buying new makeup is fun. Looking for reviews on YouTube or TikTok, scrolling brand websites, going out to the mall, purchasing from online, getting your package, using the product for the first time. It is all really fun. If it wasn't, I don't think so many people would be addicted to buying makeup. You do get that dopamine hit from purchasing the product. I think there's also a downside to this, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but yeah, it is fun, it is exciting. However, I don't really think that the fun of buying makeup goes away if you are a makeup minimalist. You can still enjoy making that purchase when you do it. It just, you maybe get to do it a little bit more rarely if you're not buying new makeup constantly. And then there is still one good side to owning more makeup that I could think about now. In the past, my list probably would have been way longer, but this is the point where I am with my life right now. However, the last pro is that making beauty content is easier when you do have a larger makeup collection. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is that the majority of my subscribers have subscribed to my videos because of the beauty content. Although I will say, I don't assume that you who watch my videos want to see a lot of content focusing on spending. Like, you probably don't want to see reviews and stuff like that. And the reason I believe this is that my content has been so heavily focused on project planning, no buy, low buy, that kind of things, almost throughout the lifetime of my channel. So I would assume that the people watching my content want to see more that mindful makeup consumerism type of content. But even that is harder to make when you do have a really minimal collection, because it's going to get really repetitive after a while. So yes, I do think that even project planning content is easier to make, and at least it's not quite as repetitive the more makeup you have in your collection. But I think now we kind of get to the topic of why you're doing project planning in the first place, and that's totally a topic that I want to save for another video. So let's move on to the cons in having a large makeup collection. The list of cons for me was really long at first, because I have been having kind of negative thoughts about my makeup collection recently, But I decided to narrow the list down because we are also kind of going to talk about some of the cons while we will talk about the pros in having minimalist makeup collection, because what is a con in having a large makeup collection is a pro in having a minimalist makeup collection. And I do in this video want to kind of focus on the positive, but there are few points, few really negative aspects in having a lot of makeup for me, and I do want to address those next. So number one, and this is the biggest reason why I feel such a strong urge to downsize my collection, the overwhelm and the decision fatigue I'm dealing with every day. Unless I'm doing some sort of a project pan, of course. If I'm doing project pans, on that case, I'm not as overwhelmed because the project pan helps me decide. The fact is that I'm somebody who gets really overwhelmed, and I'm somebody, I will say I'm not proud of this, but I so often force myself to use products that I don't even like. I almost use it as a punishment, like I have gotten this product, I need to use it. So I'm overwhelmed and then I end up using products that I don't even like. And another con that I have is that it feels, because I do have so many options and I go for so many different type of looks and so many different type of colors, it feels my makeup style is just all over the place. And that also means that a lot of the times I end up with makeup looks that I'm not happy with. I feel silly in the look, I don't feel beautiful, and well, for me the point with makeup would be to express myself, and I want it to help me feel the most beautiful version of myself. But a lot of the times I do looks where I don't feel that way, and I used to have these same feelings with clothing in the past. I have been in kind of like a style journey with clothing for a while, and although I don't think I have fully found my perfect style yet, and I do believe it's something that keeps constantly evolving, I feel I have an idea what works on me and what I like. But with makeup, I feel the style is kind of all over the place. And then this next con is the fact that the larger your makeup collection is, the more products there will be expiring before you have a chance to use it up. Now, I don't think it is realistic to finish every single product. For example, eyeshadow palettes are something that I don't think people who are not that much into makeup, I don't think they go for emptying complete eyeshadow palettes. I think that is a pretty project panner type of thing. However, I would assume that a foundation is something that when you buy it, you think that you are going to eventually use it up. But in beauty community, we see a lot of makeup collections where there's 10 foundations or even more, and if they're all open at once, there's no way you're going to finish them before they expire. I used to be that girl, and I remember I once had an expired foundation, and this is so embarrassing, but I forced myself to use an expired foundation. It was the Too Faced Born This Way foundation that I had bought in 2016, and back then Too Faced was really difficult for me to get my hands on. It wasn't sold in online stores in Europe as well as it is right now, so I saved that foundation for special occasions. Until in 2019 I realized that hey, this foundation is years old, and I thought I'm going to use it now. I had so much pimples, my skin was absolutely horrible from using that foundation. I don't now remember if I didn't realize that my skin is actually reacting to it, but I noticed it when the foundation was done, that my skin was clear again. Now I have totally learned my lesson, and I would not do that again, hoard a foundation for 3 years before I'm actually using it up. But I do see that a lot in the beauty community, and I often hear people saying that, oh, I know this is old, but my skin hasn't reacted to it yet. The way I see it with products like foundation, I wouldn't even want to risk it. I'm not necessarily going to throw it out right away once we get past the expiration date, but I know that I want to hurry up using that product and don't wait for too long. And speaking of expired, I'm not perfect in this. I totally do have a lot of makeup in my collection that technically is expired. I recently filmed this video where I shared with you my oldest makeup, and I do have some eyeshadows for the most part that are from the last decade. So we're talking about really old products, and I have just not been able to let go of those products yet, but I do know that they are old. And you know, while something like eyeshadow typically doesn't expire in a way that it would cause you a reaction, but there will be the time when it just doesn't perform the same anymore. Then let's talk about another con, and I do think this is kind of related to the pro that buying makeup is fun. But the downside to that is that there is a risk of never being satisfied with what you have. And I do think it's part of this culture we are in. We are constantly sold and marketed new, beautiful, shiny things to buy. In a lot of cases, when people do get new makeup, they're excited about it when they first get it, and they forget it right away, and then they're already looking for the next thing to buy. And you're never satisfied with what you get. You don't necessarily even use the product that you just got. Maybe you don't even open it before you're buying something new. I used to do this too. Okay, then there is one more con, and this is maybe a little bit difficult to explain, but this is just a personal feeling that I have right now. And it is that I feel that my makeup collection is holding me back in life. I have been here and there mentioning that I feel that I am in the end of my makeup era, like this is not what makes me happy anymore, and with this I mean makeup just taking so much of my time, whether it is doing it in the morning, thinking about it, filming videos about it even, although I do still want to do it. I don't want to quit filming videos, but I totally want to have more of that minimalist approach to my beauty content in future. But let's move on to the minimalist makeup collection, and actually let's start this with the cons that I have for it right now. Although I don't even know if these are cons for me, but I'm going to mention them to be fair anyways. But the first con is that, of course, if I had a minimalist makeup collection, I wouldn't have that much options and I wouldn't have that variety. But I feel at this point that is what I want. And then another con is kind of like the opposite to the pro in having a large makeup collection, that it's easier to film beauty content. Filming beauty content with a more minimalist collection gets harder. Of course, if you do a lot of different project pans and you update those regularly, filming content is easier. But I have done that in the past, and I honestly don't want my channel to be only project pan updates. It just gets a little bit boring for me. And I think that if I had a minimalist makeup collection, filming as much beauty content as I have filmed in the past wouldn't just be possible. However, why I don't see this one being a downside to me is that I don't want to anymore film only beauty content. This is something that I talked about in a recent Chatty Get Ready With Me video. And maybe you have noticed that I have also filmed some videos about style, and that is what I want to continue. But even that's not the only thing I want to do. I want to do some other content too and explore with the type of content that I make. I don't want my content to be only about the way I look or about the stuff I have. And beauty and style content is really focused on that. But at the same time, I am really aware that for a lot of my subscribers that might be disappointing if I'm not only doing beauty content, or if I will do it less and less in future. I don't think it's ever going to go away completely from my channel. Okay, so far we have talked about the pros and cons in having a larger makeup collection and the cons in having a minimal makeup collection. And I do want to end this video on a more positive note and have a positive feeling. So let's go through the pros that I think there would be in having a minimal makeup collection. And the first one is that with a minimal makeup collection, I would be able to create and do a signature makeup look. Now this is something that you absolutely can do with a larger makeup collection too, but it also means that a lot of that large makeup collection will be neglected, and or you're only going to use it on a really rare occasion. But yeah, I have recently been so fascinated about signature looks, and I remember I used to have one before I got into beauty YouTube. We're talking before 2015. I used to do my makeup really similarly every day. It was a really natural type of makeup look, no eyeshadow or everything. And then on special occasion I wore a red lipstick makeup look, and it was my thing, and I kind of want to find my thing again. Even if I want to find my signature look, it doesn't necessarily mean that I want to wear the same exact products every single day year around, but I would like to find that formula that I use to create my makeup, and then maybe depending on the season, what color my outfit of the day is, then I can maybe change the colors slightly, but I still would like my makeup look to be recognizable for me. And then let's talk about some other pros that there is to having a minimal makeup collection, and also I would say these are totally pros in having a signature makeup style. Getting ready in the morning is so much quicker and easier. There's less decisions, so I won't get super overwhelmed when I'm deciding what makeup I'm going to be wearing for the day. And another pro is that I will always end up being happy with the result, because now it happens way too often that I'm just not loving the way my makeup turned out. Of course, I might still have, for example, bad skin days when the foundation doesn't end up looking the best, but at least I will not end up with color combinations that feel awkward, or I won't end up with that feeling that I'm wearing too much makeup. Then another pro in having a minimal makeup collection is that it takes less space and there is less clutter. Now, in the past, I didn't mind if my makeup collection took a lot of space. I wanted to have my own beauty room, and that's actually something that I had for a long time. In the past, we did have an extra room for me to have for my wardrobe, for my makeup, and it was great for the time, but now it's not realistic because our children have their own rooms, so I either need to store my makeup here in our bedroom where I do store it, or then another option would be our bathroom. I'm glad we do have here in the bedroom, although this is not a huge room, we do have here this small corner for my vanity, but I totally wouldn't want my makeup to take more space what it does right now. I also noticed that I have become someone who doesn't really like a lot of clutter, because I feel it's taking mental space too much, and if there is a lot of stuff just everywhere, it's more difficult to keep it clean and it's just distracting. So with smaller makeup collection there's less of it. Speaking of mental space, I think a pro in having a minimal makeup collection is that makeup 10 and your collection takes less of that mental space. Even though I do have pretty small makeup collection, and even though I am on a no buy right now, I still think about makeup way too much. I think about buying it even if I don't buy it. I go sometimes like to watch Charlotte Tilbury lipstick reviews, and I'm thinking about what I'm going to buy next Black Friday, because that's when I will allow myself to next buy anything color cosmetics. But then also I think about planning my makeup products, making progress, what I'm going to wear each day. I get that overwhelm and decision fatigue that we have talked about so many times today. I just think makeup takes a lot of my mental space, and I don't necessarily want that anymore. But I feel unless I downsize my collection significantly, it's probably really difficult for me to not think about makeup that much. One thing that totally helps me is the fact that I have also with my channel started to make different content. And then a pro in having a minimal makeup collection is that there's less makeup waste. Now, I don't see that for me, at least in near future, it's realistic to become someone who is like zero waste makeup person. I don't think the makeup industry is there quite yet, although there are some of those brands that do like all refillable packaging or biodegradable or whatever. And then again, I am someone who enjoys wearing a full face of makeup almost every day. Yes, I may skip my eyeshadow on a no makeup day, but for example foundation is something that I just wear every day. So yes, in my case there is some makeup waste, but at least there's not waste on unused products. When you do have a large collection, there's just no way that you are going to go through all of that before it's expired. And sure, some of it you can pass to someone else, to a friend, to a family member, but it doesn't mean that the product is gone out of the planet. Like, eventually it will go to trash, whether it is used or whether it's not used. And then another pro in having a minimal makeup collection is that it takes less money, and also you get your money's worth out of the products. So if I only buy products that I need, let's say I only want to have one foundation in my collection, I always end up using up the foundation, so I totally get my money's worth out of that. But also the last pro that I wanted to talk about today, maybe in future I will have more on mind, but this is also related to the cost of the makeup. So I would rather have a quality over quantity mindset when it comes to my makeup collection, and I do think a minimal makeup collection for me would help with that. Now, I don't mean that I'm only going to buy high-end makeup products. In fact, I'm pretty frugal sometimes, and I, for example, wouldn't pay high-end money for foundation. You know, I love my Essence foundation, so why would I spend 40, 50 euros on a foundation? I'm just not willing to do that. So I would say those products that I go through quicker, like foundation, mascara. I also do use an Essence mascara, the brown one. It's so good, and it only costs like what, 4 euros. That kind of products that I go through quickly, I'm typically not willing to pay too much for them. But then there are those categories where I maybe would like to buy the little bit more expensive version. For example, I do have a sweet spot for Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks, and those are super expensive. The retail price currently is 36 euros per a lipstick, but I do think it is easier for me to justify paying that much for the lipstick if I know that I won't have too many other lipsticks in my collection competing with it. But yeah, that was everything for today. The video ended up being really long, really chatty, but yeah, I just have a strong feeling that I want to downsize my makeup collection even further. I really want to think about it when in future I'm buying new makeup, and I think I'm going to do a makeup declutter. That's probably going to be my next beauty video next Monday. But that is everything for today. Let me know if you want to have a large or small makeup collection, if you agree with the points I made, or if your views are complete opposite. I want to hear that too. But that's everything for today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you're not subscribed already, I would love it if you subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video, and see you on my next one. Bye bye.